Welcome to the Real Estate Show. From buying to selling and everything in between. Rochester's home for everything real estate. And now, your hosts from the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. It's Anthony Butera and Jason Mancuso.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Real Estate Show. We have Anthony Butera and Jason Mancuso here as well. I'm Mark Myra, and this is episode 17, right? Episode 17 of the Real Estate Show. And we were talking about earlier, we want to do lead generation when it comes to being an agent. But before we get into that, I wanted to get your opinion as real estate agents on what's Tom Golisano's chances of getting his property taxes, or it's his taxes lowered, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, his assessment.
Yeah,
assessment, then taxes. So,
yeah. Well, the story is what's going on. Tom Golisano has property in, I think it's South Bristol. All right?
Yeah.
And it's assessed at, or it's not assessed. His property taxes are $130,000 a year in South Bristol.
On Canandaigua Lake, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's just copious amounts, according to him, of goose poop all over his yard. He even brought up the fact that goose can poop up to 2 pounds a day.
One single...
One gander.
Geese? One goose?
One geise. Yeah.
One geise.
It can poop 2 pounds of feces a day.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, in Vegas, that's a show. or Mexico.
It's actually Tijuana.
So he's saying that like the property's unusable. He has $130,000 property tax bill, but he wants it down to $75,000 because he says that's what it would cost him to get it cleaned up by an hourly employee. Which is nice that he pays all right. You know, if you're getting $70K a year for cleaning up poop.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
So he went to...
kind of do.
The other day, they had Tax Grievance Day. Does every town have this?
Yep.
Where you can go, it's just like where old guys go and complain to the town.
Right.
And he's an old guy.
Probably shows up with his entourage of attorneys.
Yeah, he showed up with a plastic goose, too. Like one of those decoys.
I saw the picture.
Yeah. That was real.
I haven't read too much into this, but
he's flashy, man. When you go into court,
I mean, hey, Exhibit A.
Yeah, this thing can crack 2 pounds.
Look at this thing.
So he's trying to get it cut in half so he can take care of the goose problem, saying it's the town's responsibility.
Okay.
I just want to see, what do you guys think his chances are?
Talk about first world problems, right?
Yeah. Billionaire problems.
Yeah.
So if your taxes are whatever it is, 125 a year, you said?
Yeah, like 130, I think.
So what's that house worth, right? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Something tells me the house is under assessed
probably
already, and again, we pay obnoxious amount of property taxes in New York State, but that's what we pay for. What's the justification? Oh, the education. We have the best.
Our idiots are smart. Okay.
Yeah, yes. So
do it for the kids.
There's more to it. I don't think this is the. I don't think that this is the real story. I mean, I think that there's something more to it. I don't know if he's trying to get special attention right now. Maybe he's going to make a political run. I don't know what is behind all of this.
This is the good press to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, he just bought
Stormy Daniels. So I mean, sometimes bad press is good press.
It's kind of an interesting play, just because he's getting into the green light internet right up here.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And, ruffling feathers. Literally, no pun intended, and literally at the same time, I guess.
I mean, I want to know where Canada takes responsibility. Yeah. These are Canadian geese.
Yeah.
They're messing everything up. I mean, Montreal with the water and the St. Lawrence River and all these freaking geese.
We're being attacked daily by Canada, yet there's no recourse.
That's where the border wall should be.
For sure.
Yeah. Mexico's not doing anything. It's all Canada.
Yeah. Canadians are, they're the enemy. Right?
You tell me a good taco you've had from Canada.
That's true.
Right.
Tell me a Canadian you met that doesn't stink like terrible cologne and scotch.
And Putin. Or poutine.
And poutine. Yeah, not Putin. I don't know what Putin smells like. I'm curious. But poutine.
He probably smells great.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it sucks. The property taxes here suck, right? But you move that property that he's on in Canandaigua Lake to Long Island, and it's probably a $50 million property or something ridiculous. Where it's probably $1 million, $2 million, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the give and take. But I mean, $130,000 a year or whatever. I mean.
Yeah, but I mean,
tough.
I get it, but like that's the consequence of living on the water.
Yeah.
It's like saying that, the fish are eating all my worms.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You're on the water. You wanted to be on the lake, so.
Yeah, I'm wondering if South Bristol did something where they were trying to get the geese into their town, like a program. Because if I go to my town, I'm just like, there's a bunch of ant hills in my yard. They're gonna be like, okay, deal with it, Yeah. What do they have to do with the wildlife?
South Bristol's trying to attract Canadian geese.
It's a baby.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was Molson XXX.
They like to ski.
And I don't know. I don't know what to me, he's almost like he's kind of making a fool of himself, in my opinion. This is like one of our local attorneys. Like, he's gone through some embarrassing moments the last few years. Poppycock.
Is that his name?
Yeah, this is his new nickname. But
well, the practical conversation is taxes are high, right?
Yeah.
What are you?
There's a different.
I mean, when I'm advising a client of, okay, let's say you're buying something that's back to the real world, right? You're buying something that's assessed at $150,000, and you're buying it for $125 for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm telling them, you've got a case to go fight the town and get your taxes lowered, but don't make the decision based on that.
Yeah.
They're gonna, if versus the opposite, you're buying something for $150 that's assessed at $125. I'm telling them your taxes will go up. It may not be this year, it may not be next year, it may be 3 years from now, but they will go up, and you need to factor that in. So the municipality is always going to be quicker to whack you and increase the taxes than they will be to do you a favor and lower them. So does he have a chance? I mean, when you throw however much he's going to throw in attorney money fighting a case, and it becomes more political than anything as to who's going to win the I want the least bad press argument, right?
How can you let him win? And this is going to set a judicial precedence, right? So let's revert back to Golisano versus South Bristol. You guys need to come and clean up.
Yeah.
So I have a massive pond behind my house, and
goose poop situation.
It's everywhere. But I don't step foot in my lawn. Like, how often? What is he looking to do on his lawn? Is he playing flag football?
Right. He's got the body.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, I don't know. This is Monica, maybe his wife. Well, his wife's, was it Monica Seles? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe she wants to play tennis on the grass court.
Is she a tennis player or something?
Ex-famous tennis player.
It might be surprising. I know very little about pro tennis.
It's your age. It's your 30-year-old. She was pre you.
I know the twins. I don't know their names.
You know the twins? That's Serena Williams and Venus.
Yeah, those are the only two tennis players I know.
Yeah.
But somebody made a good point about it. They're like, let's say this happens and he cuts his tax bill by $70,000. Like, South Bristol's pretty small. How badly is this going to kill the school to lose $70,000? So say by the textbooks.
Yes.
I think that falls into Naples schools.
I can't imagine they're huge, right?
No, it's not. I mean, it's kind of a large land area, but from what I understand, decent school districts. So that's an excellent point. Yeah, $70,000 less to municipality. Mm-hmm. Either somebody's road isn't getting plowed, or we're cutting down on juniors' textbooks.
He would make the right move. And
the Golisano wing.
Yeah, he would give it back to the area. It's just obviously he's trying to prove a point.
Yeah, no, and good for him. Frankly, we need. We gotta in the market that we're in with the taxes that are as high as they are, and the state that we're in, I think we need people like Tom to go out and put up a fight.
Yeah,
so
I love that he's. I love that he's fighting the. I love his take on fighting the property taxes, and our rates, our tax rates. It's insanity. we have completely different challenges than other areas, right? So, we brag about affordability of housing. Yeah, great. It's affordability of housing. We have an average sales price of $140,000. That number shocks people when you talk to somebody that lives,
right.
Whether it's closer to the city, downstate, or even somebody, whatever, West Coast or Florida, whatever the case may be.
I mean, basically every other area besides
But when you
this
look
Great
at
Lake kind of region in the Northeast.
We'll use a $250,000 house in Monroe County as an example, okay? When you look at the mortgage and taxes, right? So you're $250,000, you're probably paying $10,500 to $11,500, depending what town you're in.
In taxes?
In taxes. So when you break that down and you look at your, let's say it was escrowed into one payment like most are, and you get the breakdown of what you're paying for mortgage, what you're paying for interest, and what you're paying for taxes. So when you look at it as one payment, the house is cheaper, but the reality is, at least in these other areas, you're gaining actual equity in the house instead of just going towards taxes. And now they're toying with the ideas of not being able to write off your property taxes. I mean, you take that away, it's just, again, it's more fear of mass exodus of New York State residents.
So then flip side of the coin, okay, let's take, hot market like the Carolina area, right?
Yeah.
$250,000 house, property taxes
$1,500.
Yeah, $2,000. But never lived there, but apparently schools, quality of, things being taken care of around the community, roads, et cetera, are, at a not as good as what we have.
So they're living substandard compared to Rochester.
It's kind of like the what give and take. What are you going to focus on, I guess?
Did either one of you see that video yesterday? It was on Facebook. It was like something like a day on Clinton Ave. Did you watch it?
No.
Oh my God!
I actually filmed it.
It's like this is like a 12-minute video of just some woman that was walking down Clinton, and it was a group of kids, teenage to young 20s. Verbal altercation turned physical, turned somebody hitting somebody with a hammer, turned gunshots.
Jesus.
All on video. And this woman, you would have, her reaction was like it was just a nasty game of dodgeball. Like, she was laughing. She goes, look at these wild kids. They're shooting each other. And, she was laughing through the whole video. I'm scared watching it from, my bed at midnight.
You're ducking.
Yeah.
God.
Is this really? It's like, man,
that's crazy.
The weather has changed.
Well, speaking of taxes, I found this Democrat and Chronicle did the top 5 hot real estate areas in Rochester.
Oh,
want me to go through the list?
Yes, please.
Very surprising, number 1. Number 5, 19th Ward.
Okay.
Which is that right across from the South Wedge? Across
so
the
if
river?
you take U of R and you go immediately west, right across the river, you're in the 19th Ward.
Number 4, Webster and Webster Village.
Okay.
Number 3, Greece.
Okay.
Number 2, North Winton Village.
Okay.
Number 1, Churchville, Riga.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy.
My home right there.
Yeah.
They say this is what it says. It says number 1 when it comes to median home price increase, went from or shot up by close to 40%, 125,000 to 173,000.
Wow.
So they're basing this list off of price increase?
So I think it's multiple things.
Okay,
But that's what
gotcha.
they're saying mostly with that. Also, they lie about this. There's locally owned businesses close by. There's 2 places, and one's a Chinese place.
Is it good?
And it just, good. It's good. Good
Chinese
food.
place in my town sucks. We moved.
Churchville's is all right. But the biggest thing is just they're everybody just buys a ton of land because it's kind of cheap.
Well,
taxes and then builds huge houses on them.
so you're further west, so it's okay, that's the area to develop.
Mm-hmm.
You have a solid school district, so that's a draw. For now, cheaper to get into than some of the other markets.
See,
so,
I don't want it to be good though, because mine are cheap. My taxes are cheap right now.
Yeah.
And once if it starts getting good, they're going to go up, right?
Yep.
They're gonna freaking price me out of there.
They reassess you. Yeah. Right. So the other markets, North Winton, number 2, to me is the hottest in the city.
Okay.
And per the ranking, it matches. Kind of call it, it's kind of taken over every other neighborhood and become the solid number 2 behind Park Avenue area.
All right.
East Ave, Park Ave, which will always be number 1.
Yeah, wow, and I mean Browncroft Cobbs are very.
Yeah, I kind of lump all of that.
Yeah.
Into one. Anything running up and down Winton. But yeah, it does differ. But 3 was Greece.
Greece.
Okay,
Yep.
Greece.
So
in
based
this market, $125,000
Yeah.
home, you can still get one there, and I
Yeah.
think that's a lot of that.
and the number of transactions because the size of the town.
Just a huge, massive.
Yeah,
area.
there's just
a lot of people.
There's been more proven sales that have because of
Right.
the market situation that we're in.
But you get Greece above 200, above 250, and compared,
changes.
you talk, if you talk Penfield, 250, that's more closer to average.
Yeah.
250 and up in Greece is a tough sell.
Yep.
3 was Webster.
4 was Webster and Webster Village.
3 was
together.
Greece. 4 was Webster. Okay.
And then 5, 19th Ward.
Yeah, I mean Webster, kind of similar to Greece, where just a huge area that's been developing more and more and more over the last 20 years, probably.
Yeah, I mean 30 years
so-
ago Webster was just Apple.
Right. So, that continues. And then the 19th Ward, everything from the U of R. They're, on the east side where they did College Town, where they, they call it's the White Coat District. I think they have one name for it right near the U of R, where a lot of the interns, the doctors end up renting or living. And then, that area's price has gone up over the last 10 years, priced out. Let's go west, right over the bridge, still walking distance to the university, where what used to be $30,000 home to $50,000 home to $75,000 and climbing up. So that market's very, very hot for it's been hot, but one of the more emerging markets in the city.
Yeah. I mean, well, let's go back 60 years, right?
Right.
Number 1 employer, Eastman Kodak. Capped out at 63,000 employees at one point. I mean, the town of Greece was built because of Kodak.
Sure. Yep.
Those areas, those neighborhoods in the city, your Seneca Parkway, those big, massive houses that still sit
Maplewood
there.
neighborhood.
Yeah, there was a lot of big houses. Those were execs that worked at Kodak.
Yep.
So, Greece felt the effect of that, and 19th Ward is already there. There's no new construction developments in the 19th Ward. It's established, but what's happening because of our number 1 employer now, which is U of R strong, right? So when that's our number 1 employer and that's the destination, the attraction for home ownership in the surrounding area based on proximity to work, prices increase. So we've been blown away with some sales that we've seen record in those areas where, 3 years ago, maybe something was worth about 60,000 and now we're seeing 110. And well, the good part is it's because of strong U of R, they're transforming neighborhoods around it, and that's what you're seeing Buffalo go through right now at a way faster pace than Rochester.
Yeah,
their
Buffalo's
average
hot.
sales price is climbing. They're in a really healthy market, but that was the Pagulas, the owners of Bills, the Sabres. They reinvested into the city. They've made the most of their waterfront, and when you bring jobs, you bring the attraction of redefining neighborhoods that maybe were troubled neighborhoods before, but now you're kind of cleaning it up. You see that happen in big cities. I'm in Austin quite often because that's where Keller Williams headquarters is in Austin, Texas. And what that place looked like 10 years ago to now, I think it's in the top 3 fastest growing cities.
Yeah, I can imagine.
There's there's pockets of high-end restaurants, bars, and apparently 10 years ago there was nothing but murder and crime. You know what I
Pockets of
mean?
murder.
Yeah, and now
Pockets.
but now there's so much development there, and there's cranes going in everywhere. So what happens is the affordability, unfortunately, the good part is it cleans up neighborhoods. The bad part is people can no longer stay where they are because they can't afford it.
A certain level of, gentrification being the term, where, what's happening now, 19th Ward is an example. 19th Ward growth started 10, 15 years ago, maybe, in its initial phase, really caught fire maybe 5 years ago and continuing on. So what's happening is, as people are priced out. I hate to say it, but as
Yeah.
you're priced out of the market, you kind of, you stay where you grew up, where you live, whatever. You move to the next closest neighborhood. So in that case, this is what's it's referred to as Genesee Jefferson, which is right next door to the 19th Ward, but technically a different neighborhood. But people want to look at it, okay, all in one, when really it's not. Well, so that neighborhood's now improving.
Sure.
And improving at a pretty good clip, too. And then, it just goes on. It's kind of like, displacement and, houses are renovated, either rented out to university clientele or students or, sold to, for a higher price point than what it was, the $20,000, $30,000 house, literally $20,000, $30,000 a couple years ago even. And now they're 50, 60. So it's very interesting to watch. I mean, that specific example, I was, in the trenches, so to speak, dealing a lot in that neighborhood a few years ago. And I would have told somebody then, like, hey, this is a good play because of everything across the river that the U of R is doing.
Yeah.
But, I wouldn't expect to see these gains in a couple of years, maybe
Sure.
5 years, maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
Who knows? Nobody's got the crystal ball. Sure enough, 2-3 years later, we're looking at it.
Popped out.
So that is a great sign for the local community. If anything that happens to improve, it starts in the city, right, and then expands out. So if the city keeps doing what it's doing, that's only going to be a good thing for everybody. So,
Yeah.
So lead generation.
So
yeah,
Yeah,
So
now
back
that
to the
we
agents.
got some time. We can get
Yeah.
to some. So if you're a real estate agent, we've talked
is
about it
for
a little
you.
bit, but getting leads and to be able to sell
Well,
homes.
yeah.
and-
So we talked a little bit about it last episode. As far as like what do you need to do to be successful in this industry? I think that I give your brain if you're a consumer, your brain is a file cabinet example. All right.
Yeah.
So real quick, our job as a realtor is to make sure that we're the guy in somebody's head when real estate comes up as a topic. You, Mark, are not in real estate business. You're not thinking about it every hour of the day like we are. So when you're out and about and you're with your friends, it comes up. Our job is to make sure, these guys are talking about real estate. Let me pop in with the Anthony Butera team. That's your job as a realtor.
Sure.
And it starts with your sphere of influence, as we discussed. Basically, I call it the people that you invite to your wedding. You've got to go out and create an army of advocates that are going to go and refer you business, and when they have a need, buying or selling a home or investing, whatever, that they have nothing else to do to think about except to call you. If you're not achieving that with the people that are your family or your friends, the people that that's step one. If you're not doing that, you're at a disadvantage right off the bat. So how do you do that? It's this concept of lead generation.
Yeah.
Essentially, people will tell you you're in the business of lead generation. And what that means is to go out and make sure that, you're building this army, so to speak. So,
And now, let's go back again. 20 years ago, what was lead generation? It was your database. That's what you depended on. That's who you would target, and that's who you knew where your business was coming from. It was coming directly from your database or a referral from your database.
Right.
And all you had to concentrate on was really working your database. You're probably your Rolodex, right, at a high level, meaning you're keeping in touch. You're writing down their birthdays. You're calling them and wishing them a happy birthday. You're really maximizing the potential from your database. Now, we fast forward 2018. There is, although it's way more complicated, there's way more opportunity. So we go back 20 years. The rule of thumb was like, don't expect to do much business for your first 5 years. Where now, I can sit down with a brand new agent, and it's realistic that you could become the go-to person in real estate in less than 12 months.
Yeah.
And why? These younger agents, they know where the traffic is. Social media. So again, your database, sphere of influence, that's the foundation of your business. If you don't have that figured out, you are going to hit a ceiling with the rest of the stuff that I'm going to talk about, because it can only bring in so much. Right? So the best part about sphere of influence business is it's not costing you anything, right? So your cost of sale is much less because
margin.
yeah, because that was an organic referral, right? Then you can go lead gen. You've got your Zillows, your Trulias, your Realtor.com. There's hundreds of online websites. The consumers think that there's just these cool websites that they can click on and the website stays afloat because of the State Farm ad that's maybe on the. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The reality is that is a lead generating, data capturing website. Okay, so. Beginning stages, looking for a house, looking in Penfield, okay? What are you going to do? Most people, homes for sale, Penfield, New York. Page 1, there's 10 results. First 3 results are going to be paid ads, right? Google AdWords, pay-per-clicks, or so those are paid. The results underneath that, let's just stick to page 1. Not many people are veering off to page 2 on a Google landing page, right? Mm-hmm. On page 1 of homes for sale in Penfield, New York, you will probably have, of 10 results, you'll probably have 5 out of 10 will probably be Zillow, Trulia, or Realtor.com, and then you'll get some brokerages that have maybe their pay-per-clicks to be on that first, to be on the top of the list. And the reality is that's where a majority of the consumers are going. I was watching a podcast the other day. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were saying 5 years ago it's changed so much that most agents were dependent. 66% were dependent on their sphere of influence for business. 34% from outside sources, marketing, advertising, lead generation, social media, et cetera, and now it's complete opposite. It's switched. Mm-hmm. So now it's like 34% from your sphere of influence, and they're not far off, because the reality is you have such. And the reason why you could become the go-to person in 12 months today is because if you know where your age group is looking, you know where to target.
Right.
You have to figure out who's my demographics that I want to sell to. The ideal demographics are the younger. They're the first-time home buyers. We want to work with them. We want to impress them. Then we want to sell their houses. So, perfect world between 20 to 35 is the sweet spot. 35 is the sweet spot because it typically entails 2 transactions unless they're moving out of state, right? So there's a sale and then there's a buy. Mm-hmm. So the ability to capture 2. But that's your sphere. Those are the people that, again, you're in talks with. Now, we do lead generation online. So we pay to basically you purchase market share of zip codes. And we know where we're doing the majority of our business. We know what areas, what zip codes we target. And we also know our ROI. We know it pretty much exactly where it's at. So we make adjustments when needed. If there's an area where we're investing money and it's not performing as well, we make adjustments and we shift our investments. So there's another source. Right now, brand new agent, limited budget, be very strategic. Mm-hmm. Free, okay? Your database. Build your database. Number 1. And great place to start with Facebook. Yep. I know, you got 2,000 friends, you probably don't know 1,000 of them, but even if they would recognize you at the store and they would wave hi, maybe not stop for a conversation, that's an opportunity for a future transaction. That person's in your database. What I do is I separate my database. I've got my top 50 referral people. These are people that will go out of their way to make sure they shove my business card in someone's face if they overhear a conversation about real estate, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Those are your fans, those are your advocates. Of the percentage of referrals, they are 75% of the referrals that come in. Hey, I'm friends with so-and-so. They told me to call you. We're thinking about selling our house.
And you got to take care of those people.
Oh, yeah.
You got to take them out.
Fruit baskets,
fruit cake, whatever, holidays. You really got to make sure that they know that they are appreciated for what they do for you.
Absolutely.
If you don't, they'll, just like anything, people lose sight. We
got a referral literally 3 days ago. Got a phone call. It was from a police officer. His partner at the department, he had to sell his house. Well, we sold the referral's house 2 years ago, sold it in a day. So he's like, hey, I work with so-and-so, and he said you guys sold his house in a day. I was like, well, listen, not every house sells in a day, but we'll do our best. So,
that should be your motto.
Yeah,
We'll
sold
sell
in a
it
day. Yep. So we get out there and put the house in the market. They were in a rush because they put a contingent offer in another house. It was imperative that we sell their house quickly, and literally from the day doing paperwork, photos were the next morning, live yesterday afternoon, sold. Yes, like literally in hours. So, I mean, what that's going to do to grow our sphere, our team's ability, it's huge. And again, they're in law enforcement, and they share that.
Sure.
So the next time that comes up, we know that we just added to our database.
Well, and plus the concept is as you grow your business, you're taking care of these people. I mean, that first house that we sold, it's not like you were best friends with the person, but now they had a great experience.
Yeah,
they referred. It starts to snowball after a while. I want to talk about. I mean, you mentioned 20 years ago. I think 6-7 years ago. I mean, you said when you got your start in the business, you opened up literally the white pages.
Yeah.
And now there's all these other avenues that you can go down as a new agent. Be cautious though. If you just jump into the Zillow game and try to make a splash in that and rely only on that, you're screwed.
Yeah.
It's a big investment to have the exposure that the top agents have.
Yeah.
And if you're just throwing a few $100s at it, it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not even going to splash anything.
And it's how you do it.
Right.
So there's different levels of how you treat your online lead generation, right? So like we're very big on our presence, our profile. Your profile is very important. So we make sure we have a very strong profile. Because the way that like Zillow works is, if you just throw money at it and there's going to be 3 realtors to choose from, that's pretty much how it works.
Right.
And you've got to pick, and you're going to see, okay, so Jane Doe just started in the business. Her profile says she sold 1 house in the last 12 months, and then you get my mug and it'll show 300-something transactions in the last 12 months, and then it'll show somebody else, maybe they have 15 transactions in the last 12 months. You've got to realize that the cost for an agent is going to pretty much be the same. So my logic is, if you could stay at the Four Seasons for the same price as the micro lots, they're going to click on the Four Seasons.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So the pretty blonde isn't just going to get the click because they want experience and they want to see that. So if you're brand new, I would concentrate on what you can do as cheap as possible or free, and that is content on social media. Don't just throw listings up there. Get creative. Right? We have a ton of stuff to do today. We're making it a point to make sure we're doing this because we realize how important stuff like this is. This is just such a small fraction of what we're working on, right? So we are kind of all over the board. Our sphere of influence, lead generation, online leads, Facebook leads, social media, and now we're diving into, now the new world is Instagram, right? And we're already too old to understand that at a high level. So when we don't get it, we have to figure out who does get it and make sure that they're giving us that presence.
Keeping up with the kids.
Yeah, keeping up with
the
kids.
One thing I think if you're a new agent getting into it, or even whatever, any agent in any career, I just figured this out maybe 2-3 years ago. It took me 3 years to realize this. I was doing it the wrong way. The concept is that you have to go outside of your comfort zone pretty much daily, hourly. What that means is it's not comfortable for people to call the people that they know and have a conversation and ultimately have the goal be make sure that they understand that they're in real estate and, hey, I'm your guy when you need it. That's, for most people, I mean, some people thrive at it, but for most people, that's not a comfortable feeling, right?
Having your house show up online as a foreclosure is uncomfortable, too. So there's alternatives.
Sure, exactly. But that's, you have to be in that mindset where this is what I have to do. I have to pound the pavement. I mean, I hate to put the term cold calling into it, but I mean, more or less, you've got to do this stuff. You've got to have activities daily. You've got to, I mean, we preach to our team, I mean, you need to be calling 20 people. That's probably on the low side for, just starting off and really trying to get after it. If you're not talking to 100 people a week, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I hate to say it. It's just a law of averages. It's just ratios and closing ratios, stuff like that. That you're not gonna talk to 10 people and have 10 deals come from it.
No.
So, you really got to get yourself out there, and it's lead generation. Lead generation equals pounding the pavement, more or less.
Yeah.
It's not like, I think one of the concepts we wanted to implement in today's show is that lead generation doesn't just mean going online and paying for Zillow leads.
Yeah.
It's a heavily competitive industry. It's a heavily watered down concept.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just hop right into that and rely only on that, and you neglect your sphere, the people that you're screwed.
You're broken. I mean, honestly, I know this because I know the reps that are out there that sell these products, and there's agents in our area that are the biggest agents in the area, and they're literally broke because they get no repeat business, so they're always buying their next transaction.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If you're doing a lot of transaction and nobody's coming back to you, you're always buying your business. You can pay for your business,
Right.
You can wait for business, or you can go after business,
you
right?
You have to be in hunter mentality.
Third one's the best option.
Yeah, I would suggest a third one if you want to pay the bills. But it is, although it's never been easier to get a fast start in this business, the activities have changed. The concept hasn't.
Yeah, it's really deep rooted to like original.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to just say sales, but it's like if you're not doing these sales driven activities, watch whatever podcast, go to whatever,
like
Tom Ferry or who's the
or
other
Buffini, right? Tom Ferry, like
I'm thinking of the guy with the big chin. Damn it.
Jay Leno?
Is it real estate related alone or
No.
Grant Cardone?
No. Damn it. Anywho.
But
next show will be about guys with big chins.
Yeah, of course. Now you got me sidetracked of where I was headed.
Well, it's just it's original. It's old school mentality.
Yeah.
If you're just relying on, okay, I'm going to do everything new with the technology, I mean, you have to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have that old school mentality of, having to go out there and really pound the pavement, then it's not going to work, unfortunately.
We always say it here, Keller Williams, you are most profitable when you are uncomfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Everything, you have to get uncomfortable to be profitable. You do, unfortunately, right? And
it's something you say to like
stripper.
a young intern.
It's something you would say to a stripper, right? You'll be most profitable when you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? So it relates to real estate. So
You're going to jail.
what a break that would be. I could use a good year. God, I'd love it.
Gotcha.
I'd acclimate so fast.
With that being said,
I think I think that we just scratched the surface on this topic. I think next week we do more. And I know that there's consumers listening, there's agents listening. We want to give back to the agents. It doesn't matter what company you're at. At Keller Williams, we're very big on giving back. What good is information if you can't share it? So I want to be able.
There's enough to go around.
Yeah.
We're not worried about losing business
Nope.
or anything. If anything, we need to improve the industry so that everybody has an easier time doing business and people aren't tripping over each other and doing bad business. So.
Yep. So why don't we do that for the next show? We'll get into lead generation, what it means, what it looks like, what
continue
activities
that
you should be
topic,
doing. All right?
all right, check it out. AnthonyButerraTeam.com. Click on the Real Estate Show tab. Everything you need to see is there. We have our iTunes. You can subscribe there. Stitcher, you can subscribe there. YouTube as well. AnthonyButerraTeam.com. And thanks for listening.
Have a safe holiday weekend.
Yeah. Safe holiday weekend.
Go America.
Go what?
America.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show. Find us on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube. If you're looking to sell or buy, talk to the Anthony Butera team of Keller Williams Realty, Greater Rochester. Visit AnthonyButerraTeam.com.